We will call this Monday, June 19th, 2017, regular session meeting of the Somerset School Board to order at 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Nancy Russell.
Here.
Ryan Moulton.
Here.
Marie Colvest. Here. Bob Gunther. Courtney Kirkowski. Katie Clearman. Here. Patty Shocker.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag in the back corner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our district mission is developing learners, empowering futures together. Our district vision is to become a premier community, bridging learners with their passions and pathways. Our core strategies are to enhance learning, advance services and operations, engage community through partnerships, and cultivate professional growth and leadership. Board members, please review the protocol reminders. We'll now move on to item F, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Brian. So we have a motion made by Marie Colbeth and seconded by Brian Moulton to approve the agenda. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion passes 4-0. Item 3 on our agenda is an open forum. Anyone wishing to speak during that time, please complete a red card that is over at the table and then turn it in to one of the board members or Dr. Bezick during the brief recess following item 2E, the student, staff, and community recognition. We will now move on to item 2, general reports, where we have 5 items for discussion. We'll start with item 2A, the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Several things today. First one will be strategic planning. Talk a little bit about the 2.5 days that the board granted us to complete the action plans, the benefit statements, and the cost analysis. It was, I think, 3 grueling days. I was beat every night. A lot of good comments from that. A lot of good work by the, I can't just, well, I can say staff in general, teachers and non-certified. Everyone worked together. And that was one of the interesting pieces that some comments that they never had a chance to really do that before, or we have the whole group engaged. And we have them broken up into 5 teams, measurement and then the 4 strategies. And it was a series over the 3 days of large and small group meetings, and then in the small group you had even smaller groups working on different result statements. And we ended up with, I think we have 21 result statements and 4 strategies, and then 5 in the measurement area. And those will be presented to the core planning team on the, I hope my date's right, 29th, Thursday, next week. And they'll get all the information on Monday, so they have a week to go through and look through the action plans. And, that's really where the nuts and bolts of what's going to happen, what the result will be. Now, one of the side effects of this process that was fun to observe was just how everyone was working together, and those are some of the comments. That's like that old study back in the, I think it was between 1924 and 32, the Hawthorne effect, where they're studying the effects of light on workers in the work environment. And through that course of that study, they'd have small group sessions and different discussions with the employees and that, and they noticed that productivity went up. It had nothing to do with light, it had everything to do with someone asked their opinion. And they were being supervised. And so one of the, just the side effects of this was that people that never worked together got a chance to work together on this. And now we have roughly 200 people have had their fingerprints on this, and so there's ownership. And so heaven help us if something doesn't get done, because now you're going to hear about it because they worked on it. So it was well worth 3 days. And I forgot the books for you folks, but we have books from our keynote speaker next fall for some homework reading over the summer, and that it's called Nice and White, Mark Sharonbrock's book. And I'll get it to you down in my office, I forgot, the meeting was over here, so. Any question about the strategic plan, anything you heard, or?
On that presentation date, the 29th, is that something you want to listen to, or is it?
Well, you sat in,
First?
you sat in on that once before, so I would expect, if you can, come in and sit and be part of that core planning team. So, because I think a couple of you had to alternate, and Patty was there, Nancy was there, and that, but I'd invite you to come to that. And, we don't want to get too heavy, we want to keep but you guys were part of it to begin with, so I would say if you have an opportunity to come show, definitely do that. And the same presentation will be made to the board, probably in July, and we get the final blessing. So the core planning team will really have the final say of the crafting of the results statements and really putting, they have editing authority, where the board doesn't, but we got the board on there, so.
Well, I heard positive things that the day, the final day. And I just wanted to thank everybody for all the time they put into that. I know it's hard work and a lot of thought went into it. And I just appreciate everybody's efforts. It's a big task and it's good everybody was involved. So thanks.
Yeah, I would reiterate that positive feedback. One staff member shared that they felt it had been over a decade since they have had the opportunity to work in mixed group someone's buildings, and that there was quite a few new staff that they didn't know, and we're really excited to get to know people like that. And one very senior, respected staff member shared that this was the best end of their school year in their 25 years here at Somerset. So I think that's just some really great feedback on the work that was done and where it will take us in the future. So thank you to you and Charlie and the administrative team and the other group leaders and everyone for engaging so deeply.
And our cooks,
Uh-huh.
our food service workers there.
Thanks to the great coaching of Coach Larson.
Okay, so then the 29th, the core planning team will get that, and we'll schedule time in July for the board to get that. We've talked about doing some analysis of our HR processes and what have you. Contacted 3 different organizations that will give us some proposals on looking at our HR processes, wage study, and policies related to, and possible some ideas of reorganization. We have 3 or 4 people that do bits and pieces of HR, and when that happens, things get lost. So I would imagine sometime in July I'll be able to bring something to the board and say that here's 3 recommendations, or here's what they offer, which one they want to work. And all 3 are pretty solid. You know what, Jerry, we talked about this before, we copied this. We talked about on the agenda, having a look at some type of grid where when people leave or they're hired, take a look at that quickly there. I took that off the Elk River agenda. This is what we used to get every month. And there's resignations on there, and it goes through, if you page through it, it's resignations first, then you have leaves of absence, and then I think what you're looking for is that 3rd page, it's the certified employee staff appointments, and you can see all the information we have there. Everything from what building they're from, their name, what position, when they're starting, what percentage of FTE they are, how many days, steps, their degree, the pay, and then other odd comments there. Is that what you had in mind? I can't remember where it came from, but we had a bit of a discussion.
This is very similar to what I've seen from other districts also. And I think it just makes our human resources transparent.
Is that
Yeah, I like that.
something? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll work with Dave, then we'll come up with the formats and we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
It's out there on the internet.
Right.
next thing we have, a little bit about food services. Dave here?
Yes.
Where is he? Oh, there it is. Oh, I didn't recognize him at the time. We had RFPs out for food service, and in the past, we've probably only received one. Didn't have a lot of options. We received two this past year. I'm gonna ask Dave to comment here in a minute. But we have been going with, I think it's Avion in the past, and the other bidder this year was Taher. And they were scored in 6 different categories, but the 2 top categories are cost and innovation and promotion of the program. And Taher was over the top in that area. We've had enough complaints and what have you of our food service. They're extremely close in their bids. We'd like to go with Taher, switch it up, and we will still retain the same employees. They will keep the same people and meet their contracts, because they were employees of Avion. So that's a nice piece.
Where's Tyler?
You know, I don't know, Dave, you wanna give any comments to mention?
Yeah, they're out of the cities too, possibly Minnetonka, I don't remember off the top of my head.
How do you spell that?
Taher.
T-A-H-E-R?
Yep, Taher. Dave, any comments or thoughts?
We had the scoring committee meet 2 different times to go through the rubric and go through the RFPs. I called 2 districts in Wisconsin about Taher generally, and I called 2 additional districts about specifically related to the person who will be our district manager and how that person interacts with those districts. And across the board, it was positive.
Right, so there's no question, we're gonna move forward with Taher then. Let's see here. Youth options. What's on the agenda here, and Katie, do you wanna just start out with some of the thoughts you had?
Well, you know, I did not know, wasn't familiar with youth options, and it showed up on our agenda, and then had all of the listings of redacted information on the students who had applied, so that prompted me to do some more digging. And on the DPI website, I found frequently asked questions about the youth options program, and a couple of things really struck me, and one is that, you know, like the taxpayers in the school district of Somerset are required to pay for post-high school college credit courses and materials and books and everything, and not get reimbursed by the state. So the state mandates us to do this, but then doesn't reimburse the school district for those costs. And that I just find very irritating. And so I'm hoping that we might check. I don't know if it would be with WASB or whom, to see what type of interactions we've had with our state representatives on that issue, if they tried in the past, because I think it's a big deal. And I had called Mark Wiesek on Saturday, because I had some questions for him. And one was, I just wanted to make sure, after reading through frequently asked questions and then double checking our policies, our Neola policies, that we do have a Neola bylaw, 2271, which limits the number of credits that the district will pay for to 18 per student. And this is for students in 11th and 12th grade. And then I looked at it again over the frequently asked questions over my lunch hour today, and so I called Shannon tonight. She was nice and called me back, because I wanted to make sure that we have a process, because the district is paying for the cost of the books, the fees, the materials, the fee for a student to apply, the fees for physicals, background checks, and any similar things required for a student to enroll in a course. And so I just wanted to make sure that we're tracking to make sure that we're keeping to that 18 credit limit. within there's a variety of parameters that they have. But, and that we're getting the books back, because if we don't get the books back, we can recover that cost. And to make sure that the students are passing. So the school district is required to pay these costs up front. And then if a child doesn't pass or drops the course, then they're supposed to reimburse the district. And there's cautionary concerns for students, because if they enroll in this higher ed class and fail, that can affect their ability, that's their college, it's on their grades for college. So anyway, it was just a very big learning moment for me, and I didn't know if everybody knew that already, but Shannon said they're looking at also hoping to develop some more programs at the high school level that we might be able to offer online, because the more courses that we offer, instead of paying another district or another school district online courses or a UW system, we could keep the money in-house and teach the same thing. So I'm happy to hear that.
The one point, they can only take courses that we don't offer. That's a key piece also.
I think one of the other things that I like about it is it gives us an option for educating kids that really want to be moving on. So it makes us look more like we're addressing needs of those that really want to move beyond high school. And it is qualified by the credits, by the cost, by their participation in that class, but it gives us the look of another option.
I agree, but I think the state should reimburse us. If the state says you must do that, I think the state should give the money back. Because they tie our hands on so many things, it's just.
I see it differently. I see it as a way of promoting. But you know what? That's what's so interesting about having different opinions.
It's an unfunded mandate.
Was there another, were we going to talk about the credit reimbursement
Which,
or the,
no, that was about our employees.
right?
It was not with the adoptions.
No, I know there are two separate pieces, but was there,
Yeah, well, the other question I had from her that wasn't related to youth options was when going, and I don't know if this would be appropriate, but it was really regarding the financial reports. When looking through there, it appeared to me as though some of our professional staff get reimbursed for their required education at a rate of $20 per credit. So in 3 credit course, they get $60. But we have some support staff members who get what looks to me to be a much more substantially higher reimbursement. And I don't know if it's 100% reimbursement or what it is,
well,
but
the supervisory support staff receive $2,000, up to $2,000 per year reimbursement. Professional staff, teachers get $20 per credit, but see, they also get jumps on the lanes also with that. So the more credits they get, they advance that way also.
I don't know that we still have that.
that's not with educator effectiveness.
Well, they have, but what is it, a $1,000 jump or $1,000 jump every so many credits? Is it 12 or 16? 12 credits, they receive an additional $1,000. And then administrative is up to $5,000.
Per year.
Right, and I would imagine those are fallbacks to the old contracts that were in place before Act 10.
So these are things that I want to look at when we're looking at our HR policy.
I think, these would be good things to look at when we do a wage study also, because,
Yeah,
the dilemma I have is, we've got people that, same years of experience, same education, but they're making substantially different amounts. And it makes it awful hard to bring people in
yeah.
and place them when it's, you're throwing a dart at a dartboard. Granted, you can get somebody for this rate, but then it just exacerbates the whole schedule.
Right.
We need some consistency in this piece. so, and we probably have a dozen cases like this right now where, you know, we should fix them somehow, but I don't know how to fix them, because you can't just throw money at them. We have to have a substantial systematic or systemic change here, and that's, when I talk to these vendors on the HR study, you know, wage study is part of it,
Yeah.
and some strategies to help us kind of bring this back together. So, because the longer you go without any maintenance of a HR system, it's just, you know, things like that.
Well, and I think in the state of Wisconsin districts, school districts, and just other municipalities are having the same issue come up with their hiring. And where they start them at and how do you keep it equitable, so I think it's pretty common. And the best way to address it is to really bring an outsider in, because you don't want to be sitting there saying, okay, I'm, you know, on your own out there, you know, trying to make these determinations yourself. It's best to have another consultant out there who can devote a lot of time to it, because it's very time consuming.
Again, you know, we bring people in, I know what I could have done, and I know what would happen eventually. And so, again, you know, bring people in, look at where our people are right now, bring them in alignment with that. So as soon as they get back to me with their proposals, I'll bring them to the board, make a recommendation of who we're gonna go to. The last thing I have is our little boundary issue we had with people leaving to go to Hudson. Well, Dave and I went down to that hearing, and because Dave's font wasn't as big as theirs in the presentation, they didn't give it to us. I'm just kidding about that part. They had a packet, so it was easy to read. Ours wasn't so easy. That was about the only humorous part of it. They made a case of, you know, where they were. It makes no rhyme or reason. Dave and I are shaking our head the whole way back, how they let them do this. Because what they actually did, they cost us a section of land. Because right now, anyone that comes in there is gonna do the same thing if they wanna go to Hudson. And they're gonna get it. They're gonna be granted. So we lost that whole section down there by this board. And this board, I don't know if you wanna speak to what we experienced down there.
I prepared a memo that had 4 bullet points that addressed the relevant points in statute that were to be addressed by the hearing. So I thought it was fairly concise. And it would probably behoove you to look at the packet that they presented, which was much more, I would say, just making a case for their family. It was much more emotionally based. And it went over well with the board that we had.
And the board's made up of school board members from around the state. There was, what was it, Dave, 4 of them?
3.
3. And it was, we were on the defensive the whole time. We really didn't stand, it was like we didn't stand a chance. You know, and again, you can take a look at this. They were very derogatory comments, which were, you know, unwarranted, that they have in their packet here about how bad Hudson is and how bad Somerset is, and took quotes out of from different people in the community. And you remember they were here the night? Yeah. So they took all that and blew it up as, so,
Well, I'm surprised, I'm just
well, we were
very
too.
surprised.
And again, it wasn't fun sitting through, but I almost wonder now if we weren't there to state our case, they may have given us some benefit of the doubt in that. The one thing they were concerned about was a 5-2 vote. And they said, well, you know, there must have been some thought that, you know, this was legitimate. And so that, I think that was one of the biggest deciding pieces there was that it was somewhat of a split vote. And so they went along with this. Now, I did ask them, I said, you know, just give me the opportunity to negotiate a deal with Hudson. We've got an island of Hudson district in the middle of our district. I said, give me, just say, go back and try and work something out with the land swap. Well, they didn't do it. They took all my bargaining power away, because right now I've got no chips. Anyone who moves in there, and that land's going, right now, as soon as that bridge opens up, because it's going right, I think, right next to it. So they just really did a number on us, and I had a conversation with someone afterwards about that. And I don't know if people welcome back there, but I feel better. So, but I have this here, these are the documents, and you can take a look at them. But now we do have an order that we have to detach that land from our district, which will have a huge financial impact in the future. Because, you're not just looking at that lot, you're looking at that whole section down there that's gonna bail on us, without a doubt. And then start looking at all that tax revenue over 20, 30 years, or the future, that's a chunk of money.
Did they give your basis or a written decision though? Or no?
We did receive a written decision. I can send that out if you'd like.
Did we receive, we didn't get that yet, did we?
I got it via email.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, it was worth going down and stating our case, but it was, the format of the presentation was an issue too, and that, I joked with Dave that his font was too small, but,
I find that inspiration to delve deeply into our strategic plan so that we have people asking to attach to our district.
well, they brought up test scores, they did what I would have done if I was looking at doing it, and I would have pulled any punches, and they surely did. Well, I'm used to being on the defensive end of things like this. That's all I have, unless you have any other questions.
All right, so next we'll move on to item 2B, financial reports. David, do you have anything to add in the financial reports, or?
No, I didn't receive any questions prior to the meeting.
All right, do we have any questions?
Excuse me, the enrollment, we're from year to date down 5 students. From end of last year, end of this year, we're down 5.
So on to item 2C, school board member reports. Anybody have anything to share?
I'll get them out. The St. Croix County Sheriff's Office is having a shop with cop for some students in our area, and they were supposed to be getting word out to the school districts as well. And they're doing a little fundraiser, and they'll take a student shopping for back-to-school stuff, whether it's new pair of tennis shoes, or some clothes, or a backpack, or whatever. And so they're having donations. I will scan in and email it to Asia, and maybe you can think of some kids, or if you have any suggestions for them to consider. I think the end date is July, at the end of July. And then they'll go shopping with the cop in August, and then the cop will take them also out to eat for the day at Faith Community Church in Hudson. Yeah, it's a bonding thing as well. So, I'll get that out.
Thank you. In my experience on the board, typically the board chair has done committee assignments somewhere in the spring to early summer. We've moved to having work sessions rather than committees, but there were other assignments like CISA 11 and Scholarship Foundation, WASB, Media and Technology, and then there also were assigned school liaisons. So if the board's interested, I will send out an email asking for feedback on what you would like to do, and then a proposal for our July meeting. So now we'll move on to item 2E, the staff, student, community recognition. So we are going to begin with state forensics. And so I see Ms. Boyle out there. Would you like to speak before we hand out certificates?
Oh, that should set a good example.
Forensics, come on.
Yeah. So this team, the 27 who went to districts, all competed at state. We were super, super proud of them. And I was also super, super proud of the students who came back to judge and coach them along the way and are still here supporting their teammates. And we have some here tonight who all did an exceptional job in plays and some moms who did poetry or solo acting.
Wonderful. And that's the first time that we've had the entire team go on stage? That is amazing. What a wonderful, life-preparing experience doing forensics, learning to speak in front of people. I still get nervous, but it's still a skill that I appreciate. So I have lots of certificates here to hand out. They're in alphabetical order. If you could come up and just stand up front here and I'll give you your certificate and then we'll applaud at the end. So we have Sally Bodlovic, Vienna Branham, Cade Colbeth,
He's working.
Connor Darrow, Nathan, is it Dirks? Durkis. Sophia Dunley.
She's at your girls' thing.
Mara Erickson.
She's on a mission trip.
Thank you. Caleb Getchell. Ashley Hess. Kayla Huerta.
Stay.
Dakota Johnson. Kennedy Chalberg. Amy Lipman. Max McMeekin. Burke Meter. Blake Merritt. Lexi Mears. Anna Pasno. Nikki Quadler. Just saw her this morning. Salem Rondo. Woohoo! And then Ben Schmidt. Sammy Shoemaker. Right, and then Jaden Spork Schwartz. And Allison Strumke. And Sep Swanson. All right. Got a big stack for you. Thank you so much for representing our district. Just have the moms and dads and friends and grandmas and grandpas stand for a moment of our thank you to returning coaches and to moms and dads for running everyone around and supporting them. Thanks. So next we have State Solo Ensemble.
Okay, so this year we had about 25 students involved in state solo ensemble. So they had to get through the district level and get a rating of a 1 star overall, and that's really only about 2 or 3 points off of the rubric that they're allowed to get off and still make it onto state. So it's really awesome. A lot of those 25 people were in multiple events. So we had the show choir go, a lot of those students did solos or musical theater solos, or some of them both, and a trio as well. So there was a lot of overlap. We had a lot of events down at state and had excellent results there as well. Lots of ratings of 1s, a few 2s. But in addition to that, we actually had 2 students who received basically the highest level that we have, sort of a best in sight award. So the judge sits in that room and then picks one event out of the whole day that was their best thing. It's called an exemplary soloist award. So we had 2 students receive that award this year, and they were Kayla Herta and Anna Pasno. So that was really awesome. But yeah, it was a great day. Lots of hours go into that event outside of school, and so just really proud of all the students who got to participate.
We have some certificates for you guys too. I see that there's quite a few that did not make it, and what's interesting is a lot of them are participating in forensics as well.
Same names.
I see that. So I'm going to try. Devin, have I got I've got yours here. thank you for representing Somerset so well. Congratulations. Sally? Thank you, Sally, for representing us so well. Connor Darrow. And it was a treat to watch all of you guys. I didn't get to see all of them, but I tried to go to enough events so I could see some. I think I saw Stephen's dad here. So, though Stephen is not with us, can I give this to you?
Yes.
Please pass our congratulations on to him. Eve Goldstein, Steve, congratulations. Thank you for representing Somerset. Who else? Mara's mother, because I know Mara's at the mission trip, if I heard right.
With Stephen.
Okay, and then just to read, I hope I didn't miss someone that's here. I don't think I did. But we also had Nikki Quarters again. Kate was in there, Ethan Gale, Anna Pasno, Jacqueline Martell, Lexi Bosson, Jaden Schwartz, Ashley Hess, Blake Merritt, Tristan Gowell, Zeb Revard, Blaine Cabot, Kennedy Chilbert, Logan Nelson, Eli Anderson, who grew, I think, 6 inches in the last 3 weeks, Jet Vane, Kayla Huerta, Logan Brawford, that's right, yeah. Hannah Oman, Jacob Wright, and Jeanette Newberg. We were very well represented, and it is a treat. If you get a chance to go and watch these kids perform, we're going to be just as fortunate next year because I think you guys are all juniors, right? Sophomore? Junior?
Junior, senior.
I'm sorry, you guys are now seniors.
Yeah.
None of you graduated, that's what I should have said.
We're all in dynamics too,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's funny.
As the kids were growing up, it wasn't until Kate got into this that I realized we could come and watch. So don't wait till I did to figure that out, because it is a treat. When we had bands here, the full groups of bands and choirs that performed here, that's a performance that anybody should come and see. And I hope if we get it again, I don't know, I think it passes, we should advertise it because it is really pretty awesome. So I think I'll give these to you. Thank you for the work you did with the kids. Excellent job. It was a wonderful. Oh, I think I gave you Katie. I could take.
And I know it's many of the same parents, but we also want to recognize the parents of these students for all of your support and getting them to different events and listening to them practicing at home and helping them grow in that area. And then our last area is track and field. So Coach O.
Well, it was a very fun track season overall. Let's summarize that. We only had about, I think, 6 or 7 total seniors for the guys and the girls. We were fortunate this year to have 2 girls qualify for state. Allie Meath, who was a senior, and Eve Goldstein, who was only a freshman. The experience down at state was a lot of fun. It's always fun, and it was great to watch the girls compete. Eve finished 3rd in shot, 4th in disc, respectively, as a freshman.
And she broke a high school record.
Yes, she did great. Eve did break both school throw records this year, multiple times throughout the season. So it was a really fun season, especially to watch her throw, starting as the throws coach here, and then eventually becoming the head coach. Just that sort of, I love watching the throws and working with the throwers and watching, Eve's dad work with our throwers and Coach Rosa throughout the year. It was just a really fun year, and it's going to be fun the next couple years, not just to watch Eve, but the rest of the kids, because we have a lot of kids coming back. And we had a lot of kids right on the cusp at sectionals to get to state. So it was a great season, a great job by, again, the girls down at state. They represented Somerset well. I had a lot of positive comments from other coaches while we were down there. So it's going to be a hopefully fun in the future, and again, there's another fun season. We're really excited for next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on representing Somerset so well. Was the event in Nebraska?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome job. I mean, that's great. How many times did you break it this year?
Couple of
Multiple times.
Wow, that's really neat. Awesome.
Thank
Well,
you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
And Alexandria?
Allie's not here.
Allie's not here. Okay, and she was what now?
She was a senior. She qualified in shot put.
Okay. All right. So I will give you her certificate.
Thank you.
And we should thank you for sitting in the track bleachers for so many nice and weekends.
Yeah,
All right, we will take a brief recess to enjoy some cake and celebrate. We will come back at 7:55.
Yeah, you know, Amy Stevens that works with them. So she said, I remember when Jan first posted a record at one of my thoughts and she
Just got back.
I was a recording and I have an aunt uncle that anyway, and they shared all kinds of things. I remember. Oh, I did a song in like you came into my house and like shut it. I remember what you're talking what was it, babe? What song was it, like space stuff? I don't remember what it was. Here's some cake. Everybody's got cake.
Right, yeah.
Remember our 90s Day competition in Alpha where we were starting? The very last day, like the last day of school, me, Brandon, Maddie, and Fred dressed up in like 90s clothes. Remember, so our teacher this year, she printed out our remember those pop-up figures that we did in the journal? And we did like a whole thing, glued and cut. She did that this year, and we're like, we did that last year, so she's like, well, I guess you guys don't have to do it then. So she like did the whole entire day plan that she had, we had the pop-up figures. What was the teacher's name again?
It's great that you're willing to take advantage of it. I mean, Then I have another one, it's at Park Center. I thought you said it was closing, I thought. Saturday. And then go over to the top of it, so it's clear, so that's safe. We have a region, in Dakota, Illinois, Iowa, and I came to the class and like that whole Midwest region, and that's the cross. So I'm really going to cross again. So that happens. Well, yes. And if you do get there, then you can adapt. But I was glad to realize that.
I just take a
Started in middle school, so we're already behind.
Yeah, well, there are school requirements. Juniors and seniors, according to state, juniors and seniors, and they can take any course that right. So, well, only because put that in the policy. Don't. We're going to be paying.
Earlier this evening,
There were
mile
some
markers,
like
finished
23
this
courses.
Thursday, it's like,
I don't know if you want to use to go.
but I went and found a new one.
Oh, you
It's
did?
pretty cool, I like it.
You know what? I would like to see it because I'm working on posters. We were gonna,
No, well, at least that was in the. Oh, it's time. It's time. It's time.
Oh. Yes, please. Apple squash. That's kind of cool. So it was something, and I was like, reading the whole 14 when you're ready to learn. And I wrote it to TJ because he's gonna talk to Cole. Just put Randy and Jerry years ago. And then I would say for the 5K, just do red, just do a different color. You know? And then we, as they did this, that's for the banners, or put SMC and Cole. But they don't like it, whatever. But I mean, start with something. You have something to go with.
Okay. I'll take that.
Okay. All right, so it is 7:59 and we are reconvening. At this point, we're gonna move on to item 3, which is the open forum. At this point, we have one request to speak. In our open forum section, opinions and ideas contributed by students, parents, staff, and other citizens are valuable to the school board. The board will receive such input without comment, nor take any action relative to any of the items brought forth. They may direct the district administrator to consider such an item in an appropriate place on the agenda or at a subsequent meeting. The board has set aside 20 minutes for this purpose. Anyone wishing to address the board has been asked to fill out the red card prior to the start of the meeting, and will please limit their comments to 5 minutes. So at this time, I will give the floor to Kim Dunley.
okay, thank you. I have a story that I'd like to share with this group, and I'm sorry the group is pretty small, because I think it's kind of a cool story. I need to give you a disclaimer. This story talks about the death of a young person. If that's uncomfortable to you, feel free to exit, or if you become uncomfortable while I'm telling the story, I would understand if you need to leave. Also, I have been given permission by the family to share this story. I kind of started thinking about this because I know that people within the school district are talking about making a connection to alumni. People who have come through these halls and gone off to do things, and we would like to connect with them, and we would like to be able to represent them somehow in the school. There's a lot of benefits to that. Students here maybe get inspired or see somebody that looks like them that came from the school and went on to do these things. So I want to share this story about this one alumni in particular. He grew up in Somerset, went to school here, but he did not graduate. He didn't graduate because he died before he had that opportunity. In the spring of his junior year, he, on a Sunday morning, he had planned to spend some time with a buddy of his, but before that, he wanted to fix something on his car. And he had permission to work at this local garage. And it was a Sunday, and he was able to go in there, but nobody else was there. They were closed on Sunday. So he got his car in there, and he jacked it up and got underneath it to get a part off of it, and the jack slipped. And the car came down and pinned him there. And he was there for a pretty long time, like a couple of hours, until his buddy came looking for him because he didn't show up to where they were supposed to meet. So his buddy alerted people, and emergency people came, and they alerted his family, and he was rushed to the hospital. And he was conscious, and he was able to talk to his family, which they were very, very thankful for. But his injuries were pretty extensive, and he died. And, of course, you know, a young person, his family was devastated. He was 17. But this was their baby. This was the baby that they had chosen. So before he was born, it was in the early 1960s, and this family had 6 children, mom, dad, and 6 children. And they had a couple girls, a couple boys, and these kids ranged in age from toddler to teen, you know, nice sized family. But they didn't feel that their family was complete, and the mom and dad decided they wanted to adopt. They wanted to adopt another child. They felt that they had this wonderful, happy, loving family, and they wanted to share that with a child that needed a family. And so they went through the process, and they were told that their name was going to be on the very bottom of the list because you already have 6 kids. You know, the babies that come available are going to go to the parents who don't have any. So they waited and they waited and they waited, and they finally got a phone call and said there is a Native American Indian baby available. And your name got moved up the list because other people passed. Because this baby is Native American Indian. And they said, we don't care! We want that baby. And so they brought the baby home. I know. I'm sorry. They brought this baby home, and they loved him, and they adored him, and he was loving and a gentle soul, and he was funny. And they raised him and watched him grow, and he grew to be a high schooler, and just a couple of weeks before his junior prom, this tragic day came, and they lost their baby boy. And you know, the baby is forever the baby. So this family was engulfed in grief. Their grief was overwhelming. And they didn't know how to move on. They couldn't find a way. Until one day, eventually, this idea came to them. And so they went to the village of Somerset, and they said, we have land that we want to donate to you, but there's a stipulation. You have to create a park where children will laugh and play and have fun. And maybe if they could see this and hear the laughter, this would help them through this darkness. But then they had another stipulation. The park had to bear their son's name. And it was through that was a beautiful thing to require, because it was through that they have kept their son alive. His name is said probably dozens of times every day in this community. Somebody here might have said it today. I'll meet you at Larry Moore's.
We were there, yep, before here.
Yeah. And so today we have this beautiful park, which is kind of the hubbub of Somerset. It's so connected to this school. So many kids will walk from school over to the park. Children play, there's playground, There is the retention pond, which is so much fun to look at. There is a walking path. There are obviously the ball fields that are the home to the middle school and high school softball and baseball teams. There's an art bench that is part of a tour with other parks along the St. Croix River Valley. I mean, it's just such a beautiful place where people laugh and play and sing and have fun. And it's here because a family loved their child. So I, at some point, am going to ask that we have some type of memorial for Larry Forrest. I think it's important that the children who play baseball and softball or go to their 5th grade end of school picnic know who Larry Forrest is. And that all of that is there because their family loved him so much. I think it would be wonderful to have his picture in some place of honor so that students here who are of color can see somebody that looks like them in a place of honor. Students here who have been adopted might see a reflection of themselves there. But also, I think it's a way to honor that family, who members of that family are employed here. That's Somerset's story, actually.
Thank you for sharing.
Kim, what year was that?
He died in 1983.
83, okay.
So this spring of 2018 will be 35 years.
And it's too bad his parents have just died.
His parents have
6
each
months.
passed away in the last 9 months.
Mm.
And his 6 siblings will start tearing up as soon as you start talking. And they hear, when they're in the community, they hear their little brother's name all the time.
Thank you for sharing that. I've never heard the history of Larry Forrest before, and it's a wonderful perspective to have while you're around everything. So thank you for sharing that. And we have talked about recognizing our alumni, so I think that'll be a good option in the future. So now we will move on to item 4, enhanced learning, where we have 2 discussion items and 1 action item. We'll begin with item 4A, the middle school handbook. Did anyone have any questions for Sarah?
I would like to just know why the change in the behavior tracking form section.
That was a collaborative discussion that we held a year ago after our handbook was written. So it had already been approved last year, and so I had to honor that change for
Is
this.
that what you're currently doing?
Yeah, this is our current, yep,
Okay, so people know
correct.
it's just changing it.
It's
from-
changing it in the handbook because we had that discussion at the end of last year, and that was already after the handbook went to print.
Okay, but what the issue is changing it after the 4th BTF is earned, students will receive an in-school suspension in the office or teacher's classroom, and it's changed to the 5th.
Correct.
And I just wanted clarification, and is that what you're still asking for then?
Yes.
Can I ask one other thing about the phones?
Sure.
So, it says that they can use them during class for instructional purposes.
Correct.
So, but not all kids have phones,
Right.
so what would they be using it for?
During class?
Yep.
Teachers use them for lots of different things, whether it's a device in your hand or a Chromebook or a laptop. If a kid has their own device, it's what they're used to using, if they're going to use it for research, if they're going to use it to collaborate with another group of kids. Many of my teachers use Google Classroom, so kids log in that way, and take quizzes, look at presentations, they build presentations together. I could go on for quite some time as to how and what they're using them for. So, and it's clear if it's there or not, and that is what our so what you're seeing there is just the abbreviated version of our policy. So those are just 4 bulleted pieces that are pulled right from our current district policy for clarity, for clarity. And then, then the teachers work with the kids. If they violate, it comes to the office. It's pretty prescriptive.
Katie, you're at the floor. Was there anything you wanted to add?
No, that's fine.
Hearing no other questions, the next item is item 4B, the elementary school handbook. Is there any questions for Chris? All right, we'll move on to item 4C, youth option courses. We have a recommendation to approve the youth option courses for fall of 2017. Is there anyone willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Marie. Anyone want?
I will second that.
Thank you, Brian. So we have a motion made by Marie Colbeth and seconded by Brian to approve the youth option courses for fall 2017. Any discussion? We had a little bit of discussion earlier. All right. So again, we have a motion made by Marie and seconded by Brian to approve the youth option courses for fall 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. The motion passes 4-0. Now we'll move on to item 5, cultivating professional growth and learning, where we have 2 action items and 1 discussion item. We will begin with item 5A, Board of Education Evaluation Tool. We have a recommendation that the school board complete the WASB Annual Board Development Tool and purchase the analysis report from School Perceptions, which costs $250. Is there anyone willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Brian.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Katie. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Motion passes 4-0. We will move on to item 5B, Board of Education and Professional Development. We have a recommendation so that the school board, for the school board to hire Dave Metzen to facilitate board development. Is there anyone willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Marie. Second?
A second.
Thank you, Brian. Any discussion?
The cost. What is the cost?
Good question.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything from him. He was gonna send me.
Do you know what the cost of Dave Metzen is?
Does he send, I haven't seen anything yet. Is everybody done?
Everyone has
I
met
believe
with him
so.
once.
Okay. I've used Dave in the past, and he's, on the lower side of consultants that I've seen in the past, and that's why I've used him. And then so, there's not gonna be any shockers with it at all. He was gonna send something, I hadn't received it yet, so.
Is there any time frame on that? I'm sorry to go back on our last annual board development tool. On that one, please.
I have the codes for them, so I can check it out following this meeting.
Do you have a time frame as to when you want to complete the project? Not yet?
What would you, it would be nice to use the information in July for our work session, so maybe by,
Yeah, there could be telling, maybe, I don't know, I haven't seen it, so.
sorry, our July work session is on July 10th, so it was completed before then.
Is it the 10th or is it the 24th?
Those were the dates that we were considering working with Dave Metzen.
Oh,
We had a work session and a regular session.
Yeah.
Before that. He is available Monday, July 24th and Monday, July 31st from 6 to 8 p.m., which were the dates that were proposed at our last meeting. It is essential that all board members are present for those two meetings. Courtney and Patty have confirmed that they are both available. Bob would need to leave at 7 p.m. on the 31st. Are all of you available on the 24th and 31st?
You know, what time those meetings?
We were thinking 6 to 8 p.m.
6 to 8.
I wasn't sure if we wanted to consider starting a little earlier on the 31st to.
That would help me on the 31st.
Okay.
That would be a little bit earlier.
Katie, what's the earliest you can?
Oh, I can do both of them.
Let's schedule it from 5 to 7, and if that doesn't work for Courtney, we have a work session with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Monday, July 4th from 6 to 8, and then Monday, July 31st.
July 24th, 6 to 8.
Sorry, thank you. Yep, Monday, July 24th from 6 to 8, and then Monday, July 31st from 5 to 7. I have invited Mark and Marie to participate in the planning meeting the week before. So if there's anything that you would like to be considered for planning of that board retreat, please let me know.
I thought it was going to be dictated by what he has done. I didn't know we needed to plan for that.
He wants to meet our needs.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we have a motion made by Marie and seconded by Brian to hire Dave Metzen to facilitate board development. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay.
Nay, only because I don't know the cost.
Motion passes 3 to 1. Next, we're going to move on to item 5C, which is DAPES preparation. And this will help us prepare for our work with Dr. Fuchs tomorrow night. So I'm going to turn on the projector real quick. So there's a link to a presentation to guide our work on the agenda. So just a reminder that the goal of the DAPES training is to increase inter-rater reliability. So the fact that board members would individually consistently rate performance the same way. Fidelity, so the idea that we clearly understand what it is that our expectations are. And then consistency, that the same performance over time would be consistently rated. We did have a discussion last time about an evaluation cycle, and we came to a mutual agreement to look to adopt the school calendar timeline. So there is in the agenda a link to a proposed 2017-18 DAPES cycle evaluation. And so I just put in dates that would be work sessions or an upcoming special session that fell within the suggested timeline. So one option would be to make this part of our work sessions as we go throughout the year. Another option would be to schedule a special session, potentially on the second Monday of those months, October, January, and July. Or potentially board members have some other options that you'd like us to consider.
If it was part of the work session, do you know what time, how much you're gonna expand the work session?
Well, we'll see tomorrow night going through the formative process for the first time. You know, there's 6 different standards to discuss, and you look at evaluation for each, and you come to consensus on comments for each as part of the formative process. Then the summative process involves sharing of specific artifacts and looking at those cover sheets, and then again, discussing all 6 standards and coming to consensus on an actual rating and coming to consensus on comments. So I do think that it's at least an hour, if
Yeah.
not potentially more than that.
I'd rather do it on the same night, but that's my opinion.
I would like it the same way.
Same day as a work session. Well, we can start with this potential timeline, having it worked into work sessions. And if we need to, we can adjust as needed throughout the year. So I can bring this forward then on our July work session for discussion and then July for approval.
Because I foresee this tracking right along with the progress and strategic plan.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, then the next piece is to look at job descriptions. And so state law does require that we have a job description as part of our board policy. And it also, we have a policy, 1400, that also requires that we have it as a part of our policy. And that the evaluation be aligned with the job description. At this time, we actually have 2 policies related to the district administrator job description. We have 1230, which was adopted in April of 2015. And then we have 1400.01 that was adopted, I believe in May or March of 2016. If I recall correctly, I believe the first one, 1230, was adopted when you first went through the policy review with Neola. Then when we did the DAPES training, we were informed that Neola was adopting a updated job description that aligned with the 6 standards for the DAPES evaluation system, which when you look at 1400, that one aligns with those 6 standards. So I believe that we adopted that one then following that training. We must not have taken action to delete or remove 1230. So we do need to pick which job description we will focus our feedback on when we work with Dr. Fuchs tomorrow night. And then moving forward in July, we could take action as needed to update those. What would your recommendation be for our meeting with Dr. Fuchs tomorrow night?
Oh, go to 1400.
Are you comfortable with that, Brian?
I will not be here.
Okay.
I'd like to see the 2 side by side and see that we're not missing something that we need to, that's covered in the 1200 one.
Okay.
And then we can go from there.
So tomorrow night I'll have copies of both of them for Mark and for the board. And then we'll bring them forward in July to have a reading of them and look to update moving forward. Sound good? Okay. So now we need to complete an activity called What's in a Rubric. That was part of the training that the board participated in previously. That will be kind of the foundation for our formative feedback for Dr. Bezek tomorrow night. So there's a document that's linked on your agenda called What's in a Rubric, and it lists all 6 of the standards. And so the first thing that we're going to do is look at the 6 standards and highlight key words in the effective area. We'll need each board member to click on that link and open it. I'm going to share it with the board right now, so you each have editing access, because we'll be working on it collaboratively in the next few minutes, and then I will remove access before the end of the meeting.
Is that mean supposed to 1400?
So if you refresh now, because I just gave you access.
So you want us to use the effective?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start on standard one. So standard one is strategic leadership. And the description for effective says the district administrator or superintendent creates, monitors, and facilitates the process of strategic improvement and seeks to ensure the district's mission, vision, and goals are fulfilled in a manner that all students are prepared to be college and career ready and globally competitive. So our first task is to identify keywords in that description. So I thought we would just start by having one board member identify keywords and then see if we agreed or.
How about we do the same way we did last time, just to save a little bit of time, because we're already at 8:30. So how about we each take one of the standards again?
Sure, let's back up to this presentation for just 1 second, because not only do we need to highlight keywords, but then we need to brainstorm what the categories of distinguish or effective, developing, or
Isn't this part of the effective recovery?
no, the board chose that we wanted to have him facilitate the formative assessment process with us, and that we wanted to do the training ahead of time so he could actually facilitate it rather than having him spend the whole time training us. My suggestion would be that we do one standard together, since there's 6 of them. So if we wanted to do human resources together as the activity suggested, then we could divide up the rest of them and work for a few minutes and then move on to the next agenda item. Does that sound good? Okay, so if we look at standard 3, so you might have to scroll down. I think it begins on slide 3, or page 3. So if we begin by reading effective for standard 3, it states that the district administrator or superintendent fosters the success of all students by implementing effective and collaborative human resource systems, resulting in student-centered, diverse, high-performing staff. So Marie, what would you identify as the keywords?
Well, I like what Katie highlighted, but I'd like it to extend just a bit beyond that too. Effective and collaborative human resource systems, but I want the results to be part of it too.
Right.
Resulting in student-centered, diverse, so to me, the whole statement actually produces the same.
All right, so we will highlight that in yellow. Mark, do you feel like that's the
Yeah, no,
key?
I could have found my color key here, I will.
You have to refresh, and you'll have a color key.
And as I look at all of them, they all have that same statement.
So now we need to look for the differences. So if we compare distinguished with effective, what is the difference?
Progress. Ineffective. Progress in developing ineffective and unacceptable.
Okay, so progress is in developing, you said?
Yes. Ineffective.
And then how about for the distinguished?
I'm sorry, I'm missing what you're saying.
So for distinguished is this one. So what would the difference in that be?
Succession planning.
Leadership? So then we need to think about what that looks like for each of the different levels. So, what are some things that you feel we would see a district administrator doing if they were effective in the standard of human resources?
I think exactly what we're seeing, part of it in having already sought out, following through on some of the things we'd asked him to do. Seeking out the HR estimates that you had suggested at the last meeting, I think, knowing there are 3, working with us to do our own board development, guiding the strategic plan. I think all of those indicate that. First, distinguished. I like how he involved or actually went to them for their input and then also had them be a part of the strategic plan, which to me says dedicated and self-directed. Just so HR with the organizational use as well.
And that will come in, the strategic plan will come in more with one of the other standards. This one's limited to human resources.
The way he did it is what I referred to specifically.
Well, and this isn't for the purposes of feedback, it's more for clearly defining what we'd like to see.
Of organizational leadership to me and self-directed groups. Those are examples. So you said you wanted to see how we would see that?
Yep.
That's how I would see that.
She was talking about effective.
Yep, we have to do all 4, so what would you like me to add for?
So if I were seeing it ineffective, what would I see? You want specific examples for each of these?
Yep.
Even though he falls under the distinguished?
So here's an example from the training. So, for example, for effective, they have the district administrator engages HR staff and other staff in creating a system for recruiting, hiring, conducting and mentoring, retaining staff. District administrator and board collaborate to develop a vision for effectively allocating resources to meet educational instructional needs of the district. Positive relationship consistently exists between board administration and staff. Consistent and fair evaluation process are in place, assisting staff in identifying appropriate and relevant staff development. So those are examples of what Dr. Fuchs shared with us at the training previously. What would be examples of effective indicators for human resources?
So you want to repeat this because rather than using the ones he's already reviewed with us because some did not get the training? I guess I'm confused why we're doing it again.
We're not doing it again because we never completed it, because we didn't do
Right,
homework.
but this step we did, we got the examples, we just read them off. So are we doing this to refresh everyone's memory?
No, we're doing this to create our own ownership of it and what we want to see themselves at.
All right, so whatever you would like, we'll be fine with me. I think his suggestions are fine.
Okay. So, the idea would be that we would have brainstormed what the 4 levels would look like. So I will copy and paste in the example from the presentation into human resources, so that'll be an example to look at. Then if we can take the other 5 and split them up and highlight the keywords and brainstorm with the indicators, then at least for tomorrow night, we will have a starting spot of brainstorming from our board to guide our formative feedback process.
And you want to do that all tonight at this meeting, or let us do it at home tonight?
Yes, I'm gonna have to leave, I gotta catch up flight tonight yet, so I could do it tomorrow sometime.
Well, but if you leave, then we lose our quorum, so that to me tells us we need to do this
Yeah.
on our own.
I've got a flight, I thought we were gonna be out here.
No, I know, that's okay with me, I just,
Well, Marie, are you comfortable with the board having access to it and having their own thoughts in the next 24 hours, given that there will be no
as long as
discussion of
there's
it?
no discussion of it, we'll have to, because if you want to have this done by tomorrow and we're losing our quorum, we have no other option.
I did send multiple emails to the board inviting you to prepare for this portion of the meeting to be most
So
effective with
that's
it.
why I didn't think we would be doing it in the meeting. And I don't know that it's the best use of our time in a public meeting either to be doing this. So I guess I'd like us to discuss
I would
that.
have to agree with that.
It has to be done in open session, which like our
Yeah, but not a
Yeah.
board meeting, it'll be in
Not
a
a
work
board meeting,
session.
no, open session is fine.
I think a work session would be a better place for this, that's all. So to facilitate for you and to keep going with what you wanted to cover, I'm okay with, I would like us to be able to do separate steps afterwards. And
Okay, so which standard would you like, Marie?
which one do you want? You pick which one you want, I'll pick one.
How, what do you want?
Do you have a preference? Ann? Because as soon as he leaves.
Operations and resource management.
You got it.
Okay.
Which ones do you want?
We'll come back to it. So that, because Brian, I think we need to at least approve to approve the consent agenda. Is that all right?
That's ending the meeting though, since he leaves. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah, no, I'm
That's
fine,
why we're
I'm
moving
fine, I
on.
just gotta move pretty quickly. I'm
Thanks,
good with that.
Brian. All right, so we're gonna move on to item 8, Advanced Services and Operations. We have a recommendation that the school board approve the preliminary 2017-18 expenditure budget. So anyone willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Marie. Anyone willing to second it?
I'll see.
Thank you, Brian. Any discussion?
I have a presentation.
All right.
Brian, what kind of time are you got?
No, like,
Yeah.
slightly to 10:45, I gotta get to Minneapolis.
Dave, do you need this evening, or can I wait until Monday?
Yeah, we need it this evening. I'll explain briefly the purpose of it. So I go through the slides quickly. I have 15 slides, and go through quickly. We can go over it again, because it's not necessarily, it's just a step in the process. That's the important thing. So it's not something that we need to dig into deeply right now. It just needs approval, because we need a preliminary budget approved prior to the September budget hearing. And this is also where we approve wage increase in the teacher compensation plan, continuing to next year. As far as compensation goes, yes, this is a compensation discussion.
I'm not prepared to vote on the compensation discussion.
As in a wage increase.
Yes, I'm not prepared to vote on that. I haven't had any information until this presentation. Are you? No. Are you?
So it's not, this isn't anything new. This is the same thing that we did for this year. It's the same teacher compensation model. It's the same method of calculating the percentage for all staff. So there's nothing new here going on.
Irregardless, I think we need information ahead of time. We need to be able to ask questions. We need to be able to,
I'm sorry, Brian, you got caught tonight because we missed 3 board members, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to please you guys too. Can we, because he needs that, is there another night this week that would work for you guys? I think we have to be respectful of his job too, and we need to do all our actions yet.
How many do you have tomorrow night? Or not tonight?
That's strictly for the dates tree.
yeah.
Yeah, but you can still add.
The motion for the,
But as far as the overall budget, could that be moved to July
will be too late.
10th?
I think that's too
That would
late.
be too late, I think.
Dave?
As long as we have a preliminary budget prior to September, and this is,
He needs time to
When's
work.
our fiscal year date?
June of this year.
So do we have to have it approved before going spending in July?
No, we have authority to spend in July.
We don't have to.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Sorry.
So I would propose that we table this motion until our July meeting.
How will that hinder your or handcuff you, handicap you?
Well, I think you're talking about a different discussion possibly. You know, this is, I would just clarify that this is the process that we do it every year.
It would help you if we did it sooner.
But,
You're approving the preliminary budget, not the final.
so yes, this doesn't set it in stone. We did a detailed budget in September, which we approved, and then we did the final numbers in October. So I mentioned in the presentation compensations, different topics related to that. We would have to do that. I guess we wouldn't necessarily have to do that prior to the preliminary budget, but we would understand the caveat that that would change what the number is.
We need a placeholder in the budget for whatever we decide, and that needs to happen in a closed session
Well, if you're talking about compensation, that's,
discussion.
if you're talking about individuals, but if you're talking about the model or the plan,
Given the forthcoming human resources audit, I would like to defer a compensation conversation until we have that information.
That's gonna be a long, long time.
Yeah, would you be okay with,
I don't know if
So,
we can do that by
are you-
September.
would you guys be okay, because it's not in stone, it doesn't mean we have to, we're not confirming anything, but it gives him something to work with, the figures. That's why it's a preliminary.
I'm fine.
So we're not
Giving him
confirming.
what he needs to.
It's not
Compensation.
Right.
is in concrete, this gives him figures to help us build the next one. And we need to help him keep going with the rest of it,
Yeah.
and we can make the changes afterwards.
so you could say, you approve the preliminary budget, but not any change in compensations.
Specific.
And so we understand then, I guess when Cora, I can pull out what that change would be, the overall dollar amount, related to compensation that's already built in.
Right.
So that's what we can talk about going forward, but just putting a preliminary budget with that.
I'll make that motion. So does that make sense to you, Tasia?
Mm-hmm.
We'll make the motion, or keep our motion as, amend my motion to take into consideration further evaluation of the compensation.
Can I clarify, are we under this will not be under the consent agenda?
No.
It's
Okay,
under
we're
the-
still under the budget,
Yeah.
just the preliminary budget, okay.
Correct.
Brian, are you willing to second that amendment?
Yes.
Can you tell me what the placeholder percent was that he's said?
Yeah, I'll get into that, but for non-teachers, it's 2%. The teacher compensation plan depends if you're moving within the plan or if you're at the maximum wage, what percentage you look at, and also where you're at placed. But I did take the average for people who are here this year and who will be here next year, and who are moving within the plan, that's closer to 3.3%. But if you add in people who are at the top, you just get a stipend. So you look at that compared to their base max wage, the stipend. When you include all those people, then that's 2%.
Are you comfortable delaying the presentation until our July work session and voting on the motion as it stands?
I am.
Okay.
This presentation is online in the business services area, yeah.
Okay. Can we add it to the agenda also?
Yes. I'll send it through.
I'm sorry, this is unfortunate, but it.
All right. So all those in favor?
So, I'm sorry, I need the number,
Okay.
again, with the caveat, so it's, I'll get to the last slide.
It's fine.
This could change in so many different ways.
It's a lot.
17,298, 803.
So you can include that in my motion then, which is the 17.
17,298, 803.
To approve the preliminary budget in the amount of.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Marie and seconded by Brian to approve the preliminary 2017-18 expenditure budget in the amount of $17,298,803 with the caveat that compensation will be reviewed. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 3-1. All right. Item 8B, the WORMIC agreement. We have a recommendation that the school board approve the Wisconsin Educators Risk Management Cooperative Agreement for the cost of $1,483.74. Is there anyone willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Marie. Second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Katie. Any discussion?
I think the pool's getting larger, it sounds like, so that should improve our risk. Less of a risk.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Motion passes 4-0. Next, move on to item 7C, the Mid-America Administrative and Retirement Solutions Health Reimbursement Agreement. We have a motion to adopt the resolution. Is there anyone willing to make that motion?
Is this one we have to have tonight, because I need some questions answered on that.
So this is logistical. It's purely how people, employees and retirees are categorized. There's no change to the plan, so if you wanted to change anything related to the plan or how it functions, anything like that, that would be a different discussion.
Okay.
This is 100% logistical.
Did someone make a motion?
No.
Okay, I will then.
Thank you, Katie. Second? Marie, second? So we have a motion made by Katie and seconded by Marie to adopt the resolution to amend and restate the Mid-America Administrative and Retirement Solutions Health Reimbursement Arrangement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say nay. Motion
That one I want
passes.
to come back, because I want to get more information on that.
Specifically on,
How we compare to neighboring schools, how they're handling.
all right, I hope that will be part of our human resources audit also. So next on to item 8, the consent agenda, which includes 8 items recommended for approval. Is there anyone willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Marie.
Second.
Thank you, Katie. So motion was made by Marie and seconded by Katie to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing no objections, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes 4-0. Next, we move on to item 9, general information. Any upcoming dates of importance?
Maybe just reiterate them that email and stuff. This person I think, who's doing the training.
Sounds great. All right, the next item is adjournment. Is there anyone willing to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Marie.
I'll second.
Thank you, Brian. We have a motion made by Marie and seconded by Brian to adjourn. Are there any objections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against say